Alright, so a couple days ago we got a little storm that came through and dumped a little bit of rain. Not a lot of rain, but it's enough that it left a few puddles in the ravine. I was just coming back to check and see if the horses had water and if they needed water, and their water trough was mostly full. So my guess is they've just been drinking from these puddles in the ravine, because I haven't filled their water trough in 3 or 4 days now. About 4 days, and it's still mostly full. So anyways, we got little puddles. See a little bit right there, and just all along this ravine there's puddles, so that's good. I don't need to go get a tank of water to water the horses with, because they've got water back here. Been thinking of damming this up somewhere to create a bit of a little pond rather, so it will retain more water after a rainstorm. There's a few spots that might be good depending on how much I wanted to retain, and then also how big of a dam do I want to make to hold back all the water, because if I do it further down the stream I go, the more tributaries there are to it. Like this, this path brings in a lot of water off my neighbor's property. So if I do it uphill of that one, that'll cut back quite a bit of the water flow going into it. But yet this area right here between the two is like the biggest open area. So I don't know, that damming it up right across here might be good, but that's already starting to wash out. That tree is going to fall anyways because its roots are washing out. So I plan to take that tree down for some firewood, since I know it's not going to last more than a year or two. Anyways, you can see those two trees right there have already fallen. The other option, I'll walk down this way more. One of the other options, I guess, would be to dam it up past where these two trees fell and get in here and harvest these two for firewood, and harvest that one there for firewood, clean up some of the smaller stuff. But again, like I said, the further down I go, the more tributaries there are to this thing, and the more water is going to be rushing down this. And if I go down too much, then there may be too much water going through it. I might not be able to, the dam might not hold and just break. There's another spot where more water flows into the ravine. So I just got to build a dam good enough with a decent spillway going around it to let the overflow water out without ruining it, and just figure out what spot I want to put the dam at. And this might not be terrible. Here's a trail going right through here. I guess the horses have been using, or the wildlife uses, to get through across the rock and up that way. That might not be a bad spot, since animals are already using this area for a throughway. If I build the dam right here and hold water back behind it, that would be a decent amount of water. And build up the dam at make it so this area here is about 8 feet deep, or whatever the level that is. Come across that could be good. Anyways, could be a good spot here. This whole ravine is basically sitting on this shelf of rock that's anywhere from 1 foot to 3 foot thick. And at least at the front of my property, this rock was only about 1.5 feet thick, and then it went to clay underneath it. Back here it seems to be thicker. But, yeah. Anyways, the reason I'm thinking about it now, back here looking at it right now, is because coming up in a couple of weeks, I'm going to have a skid steer rental. Got to rent it for a small project up at the front of the property, and I'm just going to rent it on a weekend, and I'll have 8 hours worth of use on the skid steer. And the project I need it for up front is only going to take maybe an hour to 2 hours worth of operator time. So I'll have about 6 to 7 hours worth of skid steer time worth of time on the skid steer to do other projects. So this is one thing I've been thinking about. Just bringing in a bunch of dirt and dumping it back here. But if I'm gonna build a pond here, it would be good to figure out, know where I'm going to get the dirt from, get these logs out of here first. And the thing is, with the skid steer, I could have these cut down and ready to go when I get the skid steer, and then just drag them out with the skid steer. And then, I could, depending on how big I want the pond, I could just push dirt from around this area and dam up the ravine and make sure I leave a spillway for it. And then line the whole pond dam with clay anyways, which is going to mean getting below this rock somewhere to get at the clay. So you can kind of see it here. That's a good example, actually. So you've got the dirt up here, and then it gets down to this layer of rock down here. And just down here in the bottom, you can kind of see there's a layer of clay, and it looks like it actually goes back into rock below that. So that's probably the layer I'm going to want to get to, and I could probably take a lot of these, if I bring the skid steer down this way and just push a lot of this rock and stuff from the bottom here. I don't know. Have to make sure I don't damage the skid steer, and this is a lot of big rock to be moving around. But yeah, actually that's another spot where you can see the layers. So you got dirt, rock, clay, and then more rock. So but anyways, something I want to get done, and I don't know if 6 hours with the skid steer will be enough to get this job done, but I don't really want to mess up the whole forest back here, but I'm going to need a path, which I've got a path over to here. Try not to fall on all these rocks. But you can see, this path here was my four-wheeler path when I was doing the fence line. I was using the four-wheeler to move material around. Got a tree over there I got to get off that path. But I would be able to bring the skid steer in from this direction. And there's all this dirt right in here between the main stream and the side tributary there. I could take all of this dirt out, have a couple trees for firewood, and use that dirt downstream to build the dam. Just gotta figure out the path for getting the dirt from here down to where I'd be building the dam, and make sure I clear out the trees. I'm bringing the skid steer down here, scooping the dirt up there, and then backing it up this way. I have to clear a path through the trees this way to get to where I would dump it in the ravine down lower. And make sure it's big enough and wide enough with a good enough spillway. So maybe it's, yeah, might be doable. Maybe. I don't know if anybody has any suggestions. Yeah, I've used skid steer and quite a bit, not a lot, but rented one about 6 times since I've had this property. Yeah, so I'm comfortable with the skid steer. I'm comfortable with the mini excavator. Well, any excavator really. But I know a job would probably be a little easier in parts with an excavator or having both at the same time. But yeah. Yeah, I've talked to one person who was familiar with my property from before I bought it, and they said that they wouldn't even try to build a dam back here because they think the water flows too much for it to be worth building a dam. That being said, that's what I'm thinking maybe building it uphill. One of the things I was considering was building it uphill of a lot of the tributaries, so I can avoid a lot of the water flow and just catch just enough to fill it without catching so much that it rushes down so much and breaks it. So one of the other spots I was considering is actually right here where I'm standing, because you've got a tributary to this stream that when it rains the water comes in here, but as you can see, it used to come in there. Sorry, I don't know if you can see that real well. It comes in right here right now, and it goes up there and it loops around and goes to there. So if I were to build the dam from this point across the ravine to that point, if it filled up, there is already a natural spillway built in right there where the water could go around. And and I wouldn't have as much water flowing in here as if I built it further down. And this is still a decent area to be able to trap enough water. So the main goal of this is to be able to trap enough water in the ravine that the horses would continuously have a source of water back here, even if it doesn't rain for a couple months. And it's not for fishing or anything like that, but just a area where I could basically hold enough water for the water horses for a couple months without having to haul water. Let's see. Looks like one of the horses slipped right here. Okay. Yeah. A whole bunch of little pools around here. Anyways, that's what I'm thinking about for today. I know I did this video vertical, so probably more comfortable to watch it on a phone than a computer. But anyways, appreciate any opinion on this. And any comments are welcome. Thanks.